we're going to go ahead and get started here this evening. Thanks for being here. Thanks for taking some time for the priority of your kids or your grandkids or your neighbor's kids. And those kids and students that are here tonight, thanks for being here. And we're excited for, well, kind of excited for how we're going to be educated and equipped to deal with some very relevant issues for us. I was just thinking about here locally some of the issues we had even this fall that really prompted us to go, man, we want to do something for our community to help parents and students be prepared. From in September when we had the Freeman school shooting that was tied to bullying. We had Lake City High School in lockdown for a couple weeks based on some of the texting issues and the death threats that were happening through there. Had at Post Falls Middle School, as well as death threats through people not getting sexting texts back. And just go, man, this is a very relevant issue. We've had families here in the community. Literally, one of the gals that we know ended up on an airplane going to Seattle, and by God's grace, she got grabbed before going into the sex trade. And just go, man, this is a very relevant, necessary topic for us in our area, in our schools, in our homes. And so just, again, thanks for being here, for doing this. Here in a moment, I'm going to invite Officer Gomez up. He's a Meridian police officer and a student resource officer in one of the largest middle school or high schools down there, over 2,300 students. And so this is the world he lives in. And so he'll share with us how he is so smart when it comes to social media and what students are doing and how to protect them, and what your part is as a parent, and then what your part is as a student. He'll have different things towards the end of his presentation of ways you can connect with him if you have questions afterwards. We're going to have a Q&A at the end of his presentation where you'll be able to ask those. And then I also want to say, too, I know we have some local law enforcement here tonight that this is part of your world of interacting with youth and their families in dealing with predators or other things that are happening. If you're here tonight, can you please find me during the presentation? I'd love to introduce you at the end of our night, and so families locally can connect with you as well. And so law enforcement, please do that. And then I think, I also want to say we're going to have some resources out in the lobby afterwards and some different pieces that get communicated from Officer Gomez that you'll be able to grab it in case you don't put it in your phone. We'll have that. And then we're also recording tonight. And so if you have family or friends that aren't here and I am pretty confident by the end of the night, you'll be like, man, I wish so-and-so was here. And so we'll have this presentation available for you to share with them, and so they can be prepared as well. But will you guys join me in welcoming Officer Gomez? Come on up here.
All right.
And just again, I want to thank you for being here and for sharing with us.
All right, thank you. Let me see, I got a clicker around here somewhere. Well, I'm Officer Gomez. Thanks for having me tonight, and thanks for coming out. I know those of you with older teens, more than a few of you probably heard they know everything about the internet. Mom, Dad, why do I got to go to this? This busted old guy ain't going to be able to teach me nothing. I promise we'll teach them all something by the end of tonight. We're just going to go ahead and get started here. Maybe. Clicker's broke. All right, on our agenda, we're going to talk about social media, devices. Predators is probably a big, scary one. Sexting, bullying, different applications that are on cell phones, not only for teens, but for adults as well, since you guys are using applications. And then after I scare you guys all, we're going to go over some of the best practices on how you can keep them safe. I think we're going to come up for some clicker help here. Okay, about me. I haven't always been a police officer. I've been a police officer about 8 years now. Prior to that, I was actually an engineer at Micron for 15 years. I worked on lasers and robotics on semiconductors. I flew all around the world. And I learned a lot about computers. When I joined the Meridian Police Department 8 years ago, I spent 3 years on patrol. Most of that was night shift. Night shift is where all the fun people are anyways. After 3 years on patrol, they asked me, hey, would you like to go be a school resource officer at a middle school? Sure. Do I get different handcuffs that fit 7 and 8 year olds? I wasn't sure what I was getting into, but once I got there, I realized that there was a lot for me to do. It was actually one of the busiest jobs I've ever had. I spent 2 years in the middle school where I got most of my social media education. And then now I've been 4 years as the school resource officer at Mountain View High School. Mountain View and Rocky Mountain, we take turns as the biggest high schools at 2,300 plus students. So I have my own little city. So the internet is kind of awesome in a bunch of ways. We can do things that we've never been able to do before. We have unlimited amount of information at your fingertips. Learning is easier than it ever has been. I feel like I can build a house and fix my car and do all kinds of things that I could never do before. All I need is YouTube, right? Me and YouTube, we can do a lot of things. And my wife tells me, hey, will you get your friend YouTube to come over and fix this for me? Okay, sure. You can communicate worldwide, right? And it touch your fingertip, you can be worldwide, you can be nationwide. Your kids can also be nationwide and worldwide too without you, and they can be right in the comfort of their own house. Collaboration and teamwork is awesome, so we're making leaps and bounds on all kinds of technology that we've never had before, which is pretty awesome as well. Now, with the advent of the internet and social media, what used to be is no more. There's no more phones with cords on them, and we're probably not going to go back to that. Some of the communication through letters and things like that we used to do is no more. Right now, the communication is kind of moving to all digital. In fact, I see kids texting from the front seat to the back seat or across the dinner table. Or I know some of you parents have texted across the house, right? Everyone wants attention on social media, right? Whereas before, if you had a gripe or a complaint, okay, you take it home with you and you can talk to the cows and the chickens and nobody cares. Now when people have gripes or complaints, they want it worldwide and they want it now. Let's see how many likes and how many things we can get. So you hear all kinds of people with their complaints, with all the things that they have a problem with the whole world, and we're kind of getting pretty sensitive, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that here pretty soon. What's on social media isn't quite reality. And the way I explain this to adults so they can understand this as a kid's world is adults can't really handle the reality of social media, as neither can kids. As an adult, if you ever go onto a news site where they have comments enabled, all right, we're putting in a stop sign at this location. The first 10 comments on that stop sign are usually pretty real. After that, things go crazy, right? So, hey, we're putting in a stop sign at this intersection because it's dangerous, says the news story. The first 10 comments is, yeah, that's really dangerous. I almost died there last year. I've seen 5 crashes this month. By the time we get to comment number 10, it's Trump's fault. It's about gun rights or abortion rights. Okay, you know I'm right. And then pretty soon you have educated adults threatening to come to your house and kill your dog and date your grandma, and it just goes nuts. So if adults can't handle this, how are teens going to handle this? Right? Teens are growing up in a world where they don't know a time with no social media. We as adults, we used to know a time with no social media. We used to know a time with no phones. Not the wireless kind anyways. And as we progress, even the news is losing its merit. There's no pride anymore in telling the truth. It's more about how many likes and how many people can I get to believe no matter what I put out there. Well, it's the same with kids. How many people can I get to like me? How many people can I get to reshare this even if it's not true? Where are they learning that from? They're learning it from adults and they're learning it from news. What happens is over time we get desensitized. After seeing this over and over and over again, you start getting desensitized to what's happening. And what values we used to have are no longer because they've been washed out. Right? And I always ask parents, hey, how many of your family values are you teaching your kids versus the social media that they're seeing every day? Right? And if they're spending more time on social media, they're getting more of their values on social media than they are from parents. And that's unfortunate. Okay, so who has social media access? Pretty much everybody. I see babies with social media. I know you guys have seen them too, right? 2-year-olds. They can't even talk. They can unlock my iPad and mess up my games. Everyone has devices these days. Usually by about 7 or 8 years old, if your kid doesn't have an iPhone, Mom, Dad, are we poor? Why don't I have an iPhone? Everybody else has one, right? Now my answer is call them, see if they'll let you go live with them. So how many people really have cell phones? I teach this class in 6th grades, 7th grade, 8th grade. 6th graders, about 70% have cell phones already. 7th graders, about 80%. 8th graders, about 90% have cell phones. That's a crazy amount, right? But notice there's 10% that don't have cell phones. They don't walk around in flames. They're just normal people. They get a little more fresh air than everybody else, but it's okay. Right, I know there's some 6th graders in here going to make a, hey, I'm in the poor 40%. What's going on here? Okay, Facebook requires everybody to be 13 years old to have Facebook. So does every other application, at least 13. How many 6th graders are 13? There might be 1 or 2. Right, there might be 1 or 2. So why does everybody have Facebook at 6th grade? Parents know they're not supposed to have it, but hey, not my kid. My kid's special. My kid's immune to that. I trust them. You shouldn't. And you won't by the end of the night. Okay, these are the age requirements for most everything else that's used. Everything requires 13. A couple things require 17 or 18. Vine and Tinder are 17. YouTube, WeChat, Kik, Omegle, they all require you to be 18 or 13 with a parent supervision. There's some really bad things on YouTube, just so you know. Let's talk about smaller issues with social media that aren't the big predator issues or the sexting or those things that we're going to talk about later. Cutters. Cutters are people that cut their arms. Why do they cut their arms, right? There's a picture of it here. You can see a cut. That's what it looks like, and that's what it looks like in real life, too, and I see these every week. So what happens is a boy or girl has a bad day at school. They know they're going to get their phone taken away later. They know they're going to get in trouble. So they take one of the little square pencil sharpeners that we've all had for a long time, and they stomp it. They grab the little blade, and they start cutting themselves. What this does is, when they put it on social media, they get a ton of pick-me-ups. Oh, you're so perfect, you're so beautiful, you're so awesome. Right, because everybody sees that they cut themselves. What does everybody else learn? When I'm having a bad day, I know how to get pick-me-ups. They just start cutting themselves. That's why so many people do it. The problem with this is, we can't tell between the ones who just want attention and the ones who are suicidal. Nobody can. So we have to treat them all pretty seriously. Time wasted. I get parents that call me, hey, Officer Gomez, you're like the coolest SRO ever. Can you talk to my kid's math teacher? They're assigning 8 hours of homework every night. What? So I said, I'll talk to your teacher, but let's talk to you first. Kid have a cell phone? Yeah. They have texting? Yeah. What program do you use? Verizon? Sprint? Oh, it's a Sprint. All the phone companies allow you to log in and see how many text messages are leaving and coming into that phone every month. So when I talk to the parents, I talk them through looking at the details. And usually, hey, look, go to cell phone, go to detailed data, go to text messages out. And they said, well, this can't be right. This has to be for the whole family for a year. Nope, in a month, they're sending out 15 to 25,000 text messages. How can you do homework like that? That's not even counting updating Snapchat and Twitter and all that. Just in text messages, they can send out. In fact, I think my record is 46,000 by one student, one way. Right? As the kids would say, that's cray-cray, which means extra crazy. Texting and driving. Texting and driving is a huge issue. And I see lots of kids texting and driving. As I was driving around here tonight, I saw kids texting and driving. I also saw adults texting and driving. Until we get the adults under control, the kids are never going to be under control. Right? So that starts with you adults. We got to get the texting and driving under control. Super, super dangerous. Causes so many crashes. in my career as a police officer, I've been to about 8 drunk driving crashes. And there's always a story before the crash in those instances. You can see where they had skid marks, where they tried to swerve and avoid the crash. But because they were under the influence, they couldn't do it. In the same amount of time, I've probably been to 40 or 50 texting and driving crashes. And it's always the same. There's no story before the crash. Somebody had their face in a phone, didn't see the car stopped in front of them, hits the back car, and it usually causes an accordion about 4 cars. Or they hit the telephone pole and die. Texting and driving is a huge issue, but it has to start with you parents, right? Because adults have to show the kids how to do this. You can't just tell them, and that's with everything. You have to show your kids how it's done. So please, in your own house, just take a no texting and driving. Please, please, please. Texting in school is becoming a big problem. Right, the teachers say, no texting in my class. And the school, basically, no texting in class. And we have these little vaults where they're supposed to put their phones before class starts. Well, nowadays, most kids have a second phone. They're easy to get. You can get them on Craigslist. And so lots of kids have second phones. I didn't know that one already, did you? So when you're doing a room check for the second device. Texting in school, what's happening these days is a teacher will say, hey, I see you're texting. You can't text in my class. Let me have your phone. And the kid will say, no, I'm not giving you my phone. Okay, once that happens, the whole rest of the class is lost. Right, everybody's going to giggle. Now nobody's ever going to give that teacher a phone. So teachers have given up the battle. It's like, I'm not going to ask for phones because I'm not getting them. So they just be in the back and be on silent. That's the crazy thing. Now what's crazier is the parents. They're starting to call us. Hey, can you do a welfare check on my kid? Well, yeah, what happened? Well, I sent them a text like 15 minutes ago and they haven't answered. Well, yeah, it's the middle of third period. And they're in class. Well, no, I have to be able to talk to my kid. No, you don't. Parents now are expecting to communicate with their kids just as much as kids are expecting to communicate with each other. During school, we have to let the teachers work, right? Show some respect, and that's the thing we have to do as a society. The other thing I have happened, when a teacher does take a phone, now I'm starting to have parents call me and say, hey, Officer Gomez, I would like to file a theft report on Johnny's teacher. They took his phone, and I didn't give him permission, so that's theft. Is there a real parent in the house I can talk to? Okay, it is not theft. It's never going to be theft. But I've had probably at least 20 calls like that. Hey, I want to file a theft report. No. Right, and then you get the parents, well, you can't take their phone. They can't put it in the vault. What if there's a fire? Well, I looked up that model. It does not put out fires. I promise. Right? I promise. Okay, the problem with parents. I've been teaching this class a long time. And I always think, why do parents give kids, such young kids, cell phones? Right? And so there's 2 kind of ideas that I come up with that parents are naive about. Not that you're naive, you just don't want to believe. You know I'm right. Number 1 is parents don't like to think about their babies having sexual thoughts or having sex. Okay, now I have a cute 8-year-old granddaughter. She's not going to think about sex till she's 25. All right, now is that true? No, it's not true. But parents are waiting way too long to have honest sexual conversations with their kids. And the reality is that 7th graders are having full contact sex already. So if you're not talking to your 5th and 6th graders, the 7th graders are showing them and talking to them about it. That's why I implore you to have an honest conversation with your kids, right? Talk about body parts correctly and discuss it with them. I know it's awkward, and you can use this class. Hey, Officer Gomez talked about this. Do you know anybody who's having sex? Have you seen any pictures? Have you seen any of these things? This is a good starting point to have those conversations. And if you need to start a group or a club or whatever, we need to have honest conversations with kids. Okay? Now, the second thing that parents have a hard time with is there's sexual predators right here in our community, in every community. All right? And if you knew how many sexual predators there were, you would think twice about letting your 13, 14-year-old daughters have cell phones in their room all night. Because that's just a window to the world for predators, and not only from the local area, but from all over the world. And we're going to talk more about that as well. Okay, so how did Officer Gomez get so smart at social media? I went to Facebook High, and I went to Twitter University. When I showed up at Lewis and Clark Middle School, that's 6th through 8th grade, there's about 1,200 students there. What I noticed is almost every problem they had revolved around social media. Whether it's bullying, cheating, drugs, everything had something to do with social media. Now, my computer skills were super strong. I could build a computer from scratch. I could swap out components. I could troubleshoot anything. My social media skills, not so strong. I think I had an outdated MySpace page. That was it. I looked around and tried to get some classes on social media and couldn't find anywhere that offered adult classes that would catch me up to the 6th graders. Nothing. So I came up with a genius idea. I made a fake Facebook account of a student at the school. It took me about 10 minutes. I friended 20 of the most popular kids there, mostly girls. They all accepted me in like 10 minutes. Not one of them asked who I was. It was, here you go, you're accepted, you're our friend. All right. After I had 20 of the most popular kids, the rest were cake. Not only was it easy for me to friend them because I had 20 friends in common with all of them, they started friending me. Within about 4 or 5 months, I had over 500 kids at Lewis and Clark Middle School that were friends on my fake account. That's cray-cray. Now, on that fake account, they started wishing me a happy birthday on my fake birthday. Hey, happy birthday. That was kind of awesome. But as we went, and as I regurgitated more information, that's all I did. I don't think I had an original thought of my own, just reshare. Kids started private messaging me. Now, I never talked back to the student because that would be kind of creepy. The rest of it's not, but that is. They would send me private messages and say, hey, do you have a Kik account? That's what was big back then when I first made it. Hey, Kik me, and here's my Kik account. Kik me was just a messaging application that tied cell phones with wireless devices who didn't have cell phone service. So Kik me, or do you have a text us? We're going to go to the mall, or we're going to a bonfire. We'll give you the address. I mean, they started inviting me and giving me information that they shouldn't give me. Now, as we went, it's like, this is pretty dangerous. And I'd been told, hey, you have a fake account. Don't let anybody know because it's super secret, and you can see all kinds of coolness with it, which I could. But I decided, hey, it's more important to keep these kids safe. So what I did is I decided to let all the kids know that I had a fake account, and they were my friends. So I started going into classrooms, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade classes. Hey, raise your hand if you have social media. And as they get there, oh, you know what? Never mind, put your hands down. Officer Gomez already knows who has social media because I have a fake account and y'all are my friends. And they were, oh, Officer Gomez, that's gross. I feel like you're stalking me. Makes me feel all dirty inside. Right, and I'd say it is gross. But I'd say that next 16-year-old Justin Bieber kid you friend, that could be Officer Gomez. Right? That next hottie girl in a bikini by the pool, that could be Officer Gomez. How do you like me now? Right, and then I'd say, within 2 miles of Lewis and Clark, there were 12 registered sex offenders. Within 5 miles of Lewis and Clark, there are 30 registered sex offenders. And that's pretty much the same for anywhere that we have in the valley. And that's just the ones that we've caught. How hard would it be for those guys to make the same fake account that I did and friend all the kids? It wouldn't be hard at all, and some of them actually already had. Right, they already had, because I had kids at Lewis and Clark with anywhere between 400 and 5,000 friends. Just so you guys know, if you go over 5,000, you need a second account because they cap you at 5,000. See, most of you teens didn't know that one. I know because I had like 3 kids who needed 5,000 plus, which is crazy. So what I did is I challenged the kids, delete me. Delete me now. And they'd get out their phones. Okay, I'm deleting you right now. And they'd get out their phones. They'd log in and they'd look at their friends list. Well, which one of my 800 friends are you? I'm not saying. Delete everybody you don't know and you'll have deleted me. That's the only way you can do it. Right, and they guessed for a little while, and some people would delete their whole account and start over. Some people would stay up really late at night, delete me, and some kids didn't care. They just didn't care at all, which was fine by me, but I'd rather they be safe, right? I'd rather they be safe. So then the big challenge came, let's get Officer Gomez deleted. And to this day, I still tell all my kids I have them on my fake accounts, and I do. And every once in a while, it's kind of funny because they call out somebody's account who's not mine. This is Officer Gomez, don't follow. And you watch all their friends just go to zero. It's pretty funny. So predators for girls. What I did with the success of my first account, after a lot of kids deleted me, I made a second Facebook account. I made it of a 13-year-old girl. Okay, it's super clean and painfully obvious she was 13. It was a birthday like every 3 weeks. Yay, I'm 13. I can have a real Facebook account. Yay, I'm 13. What I did differently, well, first of all, I had to add friends. And what was cool is I added friends. Some people were not accepting me anymore because I'd already trained them. Right? So I started getting banned from Facebook from adding for people. The first ban was like 7 days. Hey, you've added too many people you don't know. You're banned. All right. Right, then pretty soon it was 30 days. Then pretty soon it was 60 days. I still got some of them. They either didn't care or they hadn't been through my class yet. But once I had enough, I opened it up to friends of friends. Meaning if you were friends with my kids at Lewis and Clark, you could be my friend no matter what age or where you were from. What started happening is I started getting 20, 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old men started friending my 13-year-old girl. Now, she's not in anybody's church group. She's not in anybody's soccer team. She's not related to anybody. There's no reason for adults to friend her. So I'm like, what is going on here? It didn't take long before somebody private messaged me. He said he was a 26-year-old Marine sergeant. He's a sniper in Afghanistan. He's currently in Afghanistan. Spends his days up on rooftops. Needed somebody to talk to, and I look like a pretty nice person to talk to. All right. So we start chatting. Within about 15 minutes, this Marine sergeant asked my 13-year-old girl if she would send naked pictures to him. By the way, they always ask for nudes. That's going to be the terminology. Hey, will you send me nudes? I'm like, I'm 13. I just left it like that. And it's like, yeah, send them to me. No. I didn't send him anything. He didn't care. Kept on the conversation. The next day, when we started to converse again, he says, hey, do you really live in Meridian, Idaho? Yes, I do. He says, well, I graduated Meridian High. My parents live there, and next week I get to leave on an 8-month, since he's been there 8 months, he gets a 2-week something or other. He says, because we've been such great friends, here, we've known each other 12 hours. Because we've been such great friends, I would really like to take you out on a dinner date to say thank you. Okay, so here's a 26-year-old asking a 13-year-old out on an unsupervised dinner date. I thought it sounded like a fun thing, so I said, yes, I'll go out on a dinner date with you. So we agreed to meet at our big park, Settlers Park down in Meridian, a week later. Sure, okay. And he sent me a picture of the menu of the nice restaurant he was going to take my girl to, the nice car he was going to pick her up in, the nice dinner jacket he was going to wear. Okay, that's all fine, but as we progressed, he said, oh, well, when we meet, is it okay if I give you a hug? Sure. Is it okay if I kiss you on the cheek? Sure. Is it okay if I hold your hand? Sure. And then we started to progress to very graphical sexual things he wanted to do with this 13-year-old. So which my answer to everything was, yeah, I'm 13. I've never done that before. Sounds like fun. Because I know when we go to court on any of these things, their first thing is, well, I didn't know she was 13. In the conversation, it says it 152 times. It's 13. Okay, so date night came. This was actually our first one. I don't think anybody had done that before. So date night came. He met us right on time. When I introduced myself as Officer Gomez, I told him he was under arrest for felony enticing children over the internet, which is a pretty big crime. I put him in the back of my car. I read him his Miranda rights. And then I asked him a couple questions. Hey, dude, where's your car? I don't have a car. Well, how'd you get here from your house? I don't have a house. Where's your phone? I don't have a phone. You're like a homeless guy. He's like, yeah, I've been homeless for about 3 years now, just couch surfing. They let homeless people in the military? He goes, I've never been in the military. He made the whole thing up. He was an actual homeless guy. Now, I did a search warrant on his 2 Facebook accounts, which I had found, which is the only thing he owned was Facebook accounts. And I found he was going to the Meridian Public Library every day. And he was friending about 100 different middle school girls. High school girls were too old already, just middle school girls. Friend. About 90% of those girls were accepting him. Now, anybody that accepted him, he'd just go, hey, right down the line. That's what kids say, hey. Anybody that said, hey, back, or do I know you, they got the same paragraph that I did. Hey, I'm a 26-year-old Marine sergeant. I'm in Afghanistan. I'm a sniper on rooftops, and so on. You know, the first 6 or 7 volleys of conversation were the same as what he had with me. But what I found with this search warrant is that about 20 different girls had sent them nude photos of themselves. All middle school girls. 2 girls had actually met him for sexual encounters. Middle school girls with a homeless guy. That's cray-cray. All right, now, because of that, the mayor asked me to see if we had a big problem or this was just a one-off thing. So myself and another officer, that summer, school resource officers don't have much to do in the summer. Usually they send us back to patrol so we can remember how to arrest real people. But that summer they said, hey, you two are going to see if we have more predators. So I went back to my office at the school, and I had a special phone, and I made a Yik Yak account, a Twitter account, an Instagram account, a Meet Me account, a Whisper account, an after-school account, a Snapchat account, and everything else I could find. And I parked 13, 14-year-old kids on there. That year, or that summer, between my account and one other person's account, we arrested 16 men from the local area who came to meet us thinking they were having sex with 13, 14-year-olds. Okay? One of the people that came to meet us, 50-year-old BSU lacrosse coach. One of the guys that came to meet us was a 40-year-old registered sex offender who'd spent 7 years in prison for raping 2 13-year-old girls. Okay, a lot of these people, you wouldn't think they are who they are. One of the guys who came to meet us, when I arrested him, it was at the Walmart parking lot right by my school, I saw a ring in his truck. Hey, you married, dude? Like, no. I just have that rolling around my truck. It's like, look, I'm no genius, but you got a tan line. You've been wearing that. Well, I have a fiance. Okay, when's your wedding? I don't want to say. When's your wedding? I'm going to figure it out. It's tomorrow. That was a super awkward conversation with his fiance. In fact, it took like 5 minutes before she stopped screaming at me thinking it was a joke. But it was no joke. Okay, 16 guys. 2 of those were from out of state. All right? And in reality, I could actually meet a different person every single day. The issue is that once we arrest those guys, it takes a ton of resources to do search warrants on computers, on phones. And almost always, once we do search warrants on computers and phones, we find real victims. So then I have to call other agencies. Hey, will you go talk to this girl? We believe she's been a victim of this. Will you go talk to this boy? I think he's been a victim of this. So just an insane amount of people willing to prey on young girls. Not only are predators doing it, that are adults in the community who your kids don't know, the other people preying on young girls is their own classmates. Right? The upperclassmen. So if you're in middle school, the older boys will hit up the younger girls. Hey, send me a naked picture. Send me a nude. And the girls a lot of times will say no initially. But then the boys always say, oh, you know what? Maybe you're not as mature as I thought you were. Talk to me in a couple years when you're a little older. And then they talk the girls into sending it. But nowadays, so many kids are sending it that it's easy to talk the kids into sending it. Other girls now are trying to get nude pictures of other girls just to bully them. And what they'll do is they'll copy one of the senior football guys' Instagram account and then suck one of the girls into Snapchat and say, hey, send me a nude. And they think they're sending it to the hot football player. They're really sending it to one of the girls who doesn't like them, and then they spread it around. Okay, there's limitless ways this is happening. Limitless ways. So males are using young female relationships. Young girls, it's their first relationship. They want to be trusted, and they want to feel older and mature. And the older boys know this. So they use that against them to get nude photos. And I kind of learned this. I had an 8th grade girl come into my office just bawling her eyes out. Officer Gomez, no boys will ask me to the dance and none will talk to me. Now, I knew who this young lady was. She was a very cute girl. Strong LDS girl, very strong in the community. I don't think she'd ever cursed in her life, and she always wore clothing from head to toe. So all the boys in her own class already knew there's no fun there. We're not even going to ask her. So now enter a boy from a high school, actually a high school in a different city, who starts talking, oh, you're really pretty, and I'd love to take you to the football game. We can share a popcorn. I'll take you to the movies. We can hold hands. He just lays it on thick. So then when he asks her for nude photos, she says no. It's against my family. It's against my religion. It's against my everything. All right, and I saw the whole conversation, and she tried to hold up for a bit, but then in the end, all he said is, you know what, look me up in 2 years when you're a little older, and I might take you out still because I really think you're cute still. You're just not old enough. So then she did, against everything she knew, she sent naked pictures. Right? It broke my heart because she didn't tell me. I actually found them when I was looking for somebody else's pictures in Nampa. But this same story happens over and over and over again, right? Over craziness. So usually about this point in the conversation, people that have boys or boys themselves are like, oh, I'm glad that I'm a dude because if I meet an internet predator, I'll punch him in the neck and run away and I'll be fine. Okay, so at Lewis and Clark, where I got all my training, I would teach them in person, stranger danger, don't talk to people you don't know. Online, it should be 1,000 times that don't talk to people you don't know. So my 11, 12, 13-year-old boys get contacted by a haughty 15-year-old girl that they don't know. A private message in whatever application. How many 12, 13, 14-year-old boys that get contacted by a hottie are going to say stranger danger? 0. Right? It's usually, how you doing? Even boys that have had this class, how you doing? As they start talking to this girl, they start a relationship with her after they've known each other forever, at least 15 minutes. Hottie girl starts laying it on thick. Hey, you're super cute. I can't believe I met you. You're the greatest guy ever. To show you how special I think you are, I'm going to send you a special picture. And I want you to send me one back. And then this haughty 15-year-old girl sends the boy a picture of her with no shirt on. And asks the boy to send one back. How many boys do we think send them back? Every one of them. Once she gets the topless picture of the boy, she says, hey, I'm going to send you another picture. And she sends a full nude picture. Ask for one back. Now, all the boys don't quite send it back, but a lot of boys send a full nude picture back. After this class, I have parents go check their kids' phones, and they would bring me the phone like it's toxic. Officer Gomez. Some girl sending my 12-year-old naked pictures, and he's sending them back, and it's the grossest thing ever. Make it stop. So we started an investigation, and 2 different cases, actually they were both 6th graders, 2 different cases. We ended up arresting a 25-year-old man in Iowa and like a 38-year-old man in Kentucky. So adult men who are predators and want nude photos of young boys, they know they can go onto Google and download a series of pictures of a pornography star who's 18 and looks like she's 15. And they basically take her identity. There's this girl at the mall. There she is with her fake family at Thanksgiving. There she is at the park, at the school. And they start talking to young boys, and they know that when they send them a picture first, they will always get a picture back. Now, what do they do with these pictures? Aside from self-pleasuring themselves, they also use them to join online child pornography trading groups. The trading groups require people to upload 5 original child pornography images. That keeps the police from joining the club, right? That way we can't find out who they are. And they have very easy instructions. Here's how you get your first images of child porn so that you can join our club. And once they join the club, they're trading all over the world. And this happens over and over and over again. It also happens, the same trick they use on the girls too. Somebody will go to a Las Vegas stripper show website and they pick the hunka guy who's photoshopped a little bit, and they start talking to young girls. They send a naked picture first, they get naked pictures back a lot. A lot. So since you guys brought up the topic of nude pictures, let's talk about nude pictures. Okay, if you are under the age of 18 and you take a nude picture of yourself and you send it, share it, show it in any way, shape, or form, that's now child pornography. And the code specifically is dissemination of harmful information to minors, which we call, dissemination of child porn. If you are in possession of a picture of anybody under the age of 18, also illegal. Okay, the first time you get caught, either one of those is a misdemeanor crime. The second time is a felony crime. Right? For people who don't quite know what those are, you have a citation, which is like a speeding ticket. You can't do jail time for a speeding ticket. You can do jail time for missing your court dates on speeding ticket, but not for the speeding ticket. That's a citation. A misdemeanor is up to a year in jail. Anything above that is a felony. So your second time is a felony. The thing about nude photos, and I tell the kids, hey, you send out a nude photo, it's like putting a tattoo on your forehead, because it's forever. In fact, a tattoo on your forehead, you could actually have laser removed. You can't get the pictures off the internet once they hit there. And we run into this more and more and more. 2 summers ago, I had a 22-year-old Marine recruiter girl come in and say, hey, Officer Gomez, I got an email 2 weeks ago. Said, hey, they had a naked picture of me. If I didn't send them $500 in iTunes cards, they were going to share my picture with everybody. She said, I've never taken a naked picture, so I didn't send them nothing. About a week later, about 2 in the morning, she'd accepted somebody on her friends list that she didn't know. That person posted her naked picture to her own account. She had forgotten that 7 years earlier, she'd sent one naked picture to one boyfriend. That was it. It lay dormant for 7 years. And then this guy put it to her own Facebook, her own Instagram, and emailed it to all her workers down at Gowan Field. So pretty horrible thing. Now, we were able to deduce some things, but the reality is that she never knows when she has to deal with that again. And we're seeing more and more sextortion where a girl in high school sends out a naked picture. She'll go through college, she'll go to get married, and right before her wedding, about a week before, hey, we have a naked picture of you. What's it worth to you if we don't share it with everybody? Or you go to get a new job, or any big event, and then the extortionists come out. They're not even waiting till then. I have guys in high school that are already extorting girls. Hey, somebody gave me your naked picture. Send me a new one, or else I'm going to spread this one all over the place. All right, it's crazy. Okay, so these are the sexting laws. This was more for my law enforcement class, but they are there. Both the sender and the receiver who still has a naked picture on their phone gets in trouble. All right, so then parents, well, what if my kid gets something unsolicited? Well, make sure we delete it or let law enforcement know soon so that we can educate everybody and take care of that. Now, if you have a picture on your phone of a child that's more than 3 years younger than you, so let's say a 17-year-old has an 11-year-old girl naked picture, that's a felony first time. Now, I've actually had to arrest an 8th grade boy for multiple times collecting naked pictures of classmates. That's a middle school kid in handcuffs. Had to arrest a 9th grade girl. Same thing, multiple times sending out naked pictures. Right, and the way that looks is you call her down to the office. Hey, did you send out a new naked picture of yourself? Yeah. Didn't we talk about this twice before? Yeah. This one's different. No, it's not. Well, he said he loved me. Didn't the last guy say that? Yeah, but this one's different. Yeah, you're going to juvenile detention. Turn around, put your hands behind your back. Right, and that's a trip down to juvenile detention because she's just not getting it. Because when they send those naked pictures out, it puts our whole school and our whole community at risk because now we got people coming from who knows where to see this girl because now they have their naked picture. They come and park at the school with binoculars and they want to see what the girl looks like in real life. Right? It's super dangerous. Very hard to get pictures deleted off the internet. Once they're on there, trying to get them off is like trying to unscramble an egg. Now, the sooner that you let police know, if you've sent out naked pictures, the sooner you let police know, the sooner we can do something about it. Right? So if we can get it pretty soon, what we do is we'll call some of the people that have, hey, do you have a naked picture of this boy or this girl? Nope. Whether they do or they don't, when they leave my office, they're going to tell everybody they know, Officer Gomez is hunting for pictures. So not only does that kid's pictures get deleted, but so does everybody else's. Every once in a while, I got to start the rumor that I'm hunting for pictures just to start deleting pictures. Okay? Now, also, if we catch you with nude photos on your phone, we take that phone as evidence. With a lot of phones, even if you delete it, master reset it, there's no way to know if it actually deleted the information. We have a cool machine in my office. I can get your deleted texts and pictures for like the last year. All right, so we never give the phone back. There's only 2 ways to know for certain that you can get the pictures off a phone. The blender method and the hammer technique. What we're seeing now is Craigslist guys are calling people that are selling cell phones. Hey, I want to buy your cell phone, but I want to know who used it because I don't want it to have too much use. Oh, my teen daughter had it and she took care of it really well. Okay, I'll take it. And what they do is they're farming it for pictures. Okay, because sometimes they can find pictures on there. Sometimes the Verizon and the Sprint guys find pictures on phones that are turned in for upgrades. Okay? Taking a nude photo on a phone is hugely dangerous. So extortion. We talked about that when somebody wants money or more pictures. This is becoming a bigger and bigger deal. I have adult men who are offering money and or drugs to my high school boys if they'll send them naked pictures of my high school girls. And they offer extra money if they send it with a Facebook profile or an Instagram profile so that they can know who she is, where she goes to school, and everything like that, right? And the going price right now is $250 a picture. Ridiculous. And we have lots of people like that. Okay, friends and classmates will extort, and so will creepy strangers. Okay, extortion can sometimes lead to human trafficking. Right? Hey, I have your naked picture, go out on a date with me. I have your naked picture, go do this, go do that. They just start blackmailing them until they're way in over their heads. So how big is the problem with naked pictures? Right? Because I'm telling you this, you're thinking, maybe 10 people in high school, 20 people in the high school. So high school girls by 10th grade, so about 15, 16 years old, 10%, 40%, 50%, 75%. About 75% have sent out their nude photo in one way, shape, or another. Probably a good 30% of those have sent them out to somebody they don't even know. Right? I'll go to another school. Hey, did you send out a nude picture? Yeah. Who'd you send it to? This guy. What's his name? I don't know. Well, how do you know who you sent? Well, his username is this. You don't even know his name. You're sending naked pictures? Well, I really liked him. How do you know it's not a girl? Right? How do you know it's not some guy in the basement somewhere? The janitor. You don't know. What about middle school girls? The thing about middle school girls is they always want to keep up with the high school girls, no matter what, right? Whatever the high school girls are doing, the middle school girls are doing. So how big a problem? 10%, 20%, 40%, 75%. I know you all are saying, I don't even want to see this. I don't even want to see this. About 40% of middle school girls. These are from actual numbers that I'm taking and numbers that I look up nationwide. I'm going and taking reports now from 10 and 11-year-old kids who are sending out naked pictures. 10 and 11. I think my record is a 9-year-old using Tap Tap Revenge, which is a musical game. She thought she was sending it to some like 15-year-old Justin Bieber-looking dude. And I never did find out who it was, but it was probably some 50-year-old guy in a trailer somewhere. 40% of middle school girls, right? They shouldn't even have phones. Right? There's no reason to give a kid a phone before 13. You're not supposed to have any of the social media. No reason. And tomorrow we'll know how successful I am by how many middle school kids got their phones taken away tonight. Now, what do we do if we discover our kids have sent out something? The best thing you can do is contact law enforcement. I know in the Valley, this has become such a big problem that we tell the kids, hey, if you come to us, we're going to help you every way we can and we won't charge you. Right? We're not in the business of ruining kids' lives. We want to help every way we can. So if we have a good parent, I'll take a good parent over a judge any day. So you come to us, hey, we sent out this picture. We're going to start calling people in, starting to get those pictures deleted as much as we can. If you get one unsolicited from somebody, either delete it or bring it into us so that we can find the person who's sending them and inform them how dangerous that is, because it is super dangerous. Right? And basically, if you don't feel comfortable going to police, go to a counselor, go to a teacher, go to a principal. Let's talk to some adult and get them involved, because these are big people problems. And we want to help you as much as we can. Right? So find somebody you trust. Let's get them involved. And hopefully they'll kind of direct you to police, because we can deal with people a little better, right? Taser to the neck. Okay. I promise you pictures. What does that mean? So if you give your 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old daughter a smartphone with social media, I promise you that sooner or later, and probably sooner than later, they are going to get a penis picture from somebody they don't know. It's like, did he just say that? Yes, I did. All right, well, what do I mean by that? Okay, as they get on social media, they're going to get people they don't know. And for some reason, some guys like to send out their penis picture to everybody they can find. If a minor child, even an older child, when they have their shiny new iPhone that they just got after begging and begging and begging, they got their shiny new iPhone, they're talking to all their friends, it's the greatest thing ever. Now somebody sends them a penis picture. If they show mom and dad, what do they think is going to happen? Mom and dad are going to go to freak level 5 and take their phone forever. And that's pretty close to what happens. I know because I've called many a parent. Hey, your 12-year-old daughter, I just found that somebody's sending her pictures unsolicited. Oh my gosh, And they always want me to go and find the people. Well, I think they're in Hong Kong or somewhere. I can't really go, well, hey, the flight leaves at noon. Right? A lot of times when parents call me, hey, my daughter just got this or my son just got this. Hey, delete it. Okay, now what? That's it. You're done. Well, what are you going to do? I just did it. I told you to delete it. Well, that can't be all. Yeah, on social media world, this is a new world we live in. Okay? If you give your kids smartphones, they're going to get child pornography. They're going to get adult pornography from people they don't know. Part of giving them that is teaching them how to delete, how to appropriately tell you guys. If you don't have this conversation beforehand and say, hey, honey, I'm giving you this phone. Officer Gomez promised that you were going to get something inappropriate. When you do, we want you to come to us, and we'll promise to try and not freak out, even though we will. All right? Because I've talked to many parents who do freak out no matter what. Talk about it ahead of time. With everything, talk about it ahead of time. I know I'm going to tell you guys how to get to my Facebook page later. And some of these things that you should talk about before you give a phone, there's a list that one of the students made. It's a perfect list to talk about before you give a cell phone. So bullying. Bullying is something that parents think is a huge problem. Kids think is a huge problem. I don't think it's much of a problem at all. The reason I don't think it's much of a problem is because parents don't really know what the definition of bullying is. Okay, so I wrote it down here very simple for you. One-way repeated harassment in person by a third person or by electronics means. Super important. Repeated and one way. Right? If somebody calls your kid something in the hallway, you call me, oh, they're getting bullied. No, somebody's just rude. That's not bullying. If your kid gets in a Twitter fight, the first parent to call me is not the victim of bullying. Okay, that's called social conflict. Much like real life, we need social conflict resolution skills. And when a kid comes to me and says, Officer Gomez, I'm getting bullied, I ask them two questions. And these are the same two questions you should ask your kid with every problem. Number one, do you want me to fix this for you? Or number two, do you want me to show you how to fix this? Almost every kid picks, show me how to fix it. And within a few minutes, I don't even talk to the person who sent them anything. Within a few minutes, they're fine. You parents should be doing the same thing. When they have a conflict, you should be talking it through. How can we resolve this? Right? Because conflict resolution in high school is just like real life. Okay, and when a parent calls me, hey, my kid's being bullied. All right, let's figure out how to fix this. Rarely is it actual bullying. And we can usually stop it. Now, I have a $74 citation. I can actually issue somebody if they are bullying somebody. And in my 5-6 years as an SRO, I probably have received more bullying complaints than anybody else. I've only had to write 4 citations. And those 4 have been because the parents are involved in the bullying just as much as anybody else. But she started it. It's like, hey, where's the real parent? Right? The parents are perpetuating the bullying. So in that case, I'll write the kid as many $74 citations as I need. I actually had a judge order the kid no social media for 6 months. It's the happiest 6 months of her life. How do you stop online bullying? Super simple. If you're getting bullied online, number one, block and delete and stop talking to your friends about it, right? Because if you talk to your friends about it, they're going to talk to their friends about it, and it's going to continue no matter what. Or number 2 is block and delete. Number 3, the most important step in this that most people miss is let all your friends know not to send you screenshots. Right? Because they always get the block and delete part fine. They always get okay, I'll stop talking about it. Officer Gomez, I stopped everything, but she's still doing it. Well, how do you know? Because all my friends are sending me screenshots. Oh, you have awesome friends. Okay? No, that's one of the steps. Tell your friends to stop sending you screenshots. Once you do that, they will move on. And quickly, right? But that's part of, conflict resolution. Let's figure out how to do that. Now, I had an awesome parent. Well, in middle school, I had the Twitter fight of, 2015, which is the 20 populars against the 20 populars. Every parent called me and wanted me to arrest all the other kids. As I'm telling all the parents, this is social conflict. Make sure your daughter's not involved. They're not old enough to be on the internet. They have 800 friends, all this stuff. One parent out of all of them said, hey, did you just say my daughter was involved? Yes, I did. Well, can you tell me what you said? And this, and this. Okay, I'll call you back. She called me back in about half an hour. She said, Officer Gomez, I'm sorry that I didn't have all the information before. They said, when we gave our daughter her cell phone, the number one rule is you'll never talk about somebody on a public forum negatively about anything for any reason. So she failed that, so we've taken her phone away. She'll get another chance a year from now when she's 14. Just about brought a tear to my eye, the parenting involved. Right? That was awesome. And it's super easy. And that girl just graduated last year. She never had a social media problem again. Never. Not even close. Right? That was awesome. So if you need ideas, you kids can thank me later. So let's talk about applications. So the big four is what we're going to talk about. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook. Those are the ones that survive the test of time. There's hundreds of thousands of applications that come and go, right? And the kids will try out all kinds of them. However, usually when an application starts doing well, a bigger application will buy it out and buy whatever funness there is to it. So Twitter. Twitter's very popular. You can share statuses. You can private message, private pictures. Lots of people use Twitter. Some people that shouldn't. It has just, standard techniques for just be a parent and start looking through that stuff. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. Facebook. Facebook, what you have to watch out for is it shares your location. Most people, kids and parents alike, have unsecured Facebook, right? If I look at most people's Facebook in here, I can see where they went to college, where they work, what city they're in, who their family is, all kinds of things about you. I shouldn't be able to see that, but I do. Well, it's just like texting and driving. If you as a parent don't care about securing your Facebook, why should your kids? And if you need help with that, ask your kids. Right? The kids know how to secure it, they just don't. We get lots of Facebook stalkers, right? Myself included. I stalk people like none other on Facebook. When I got somebody with a warrant or a creeper who's going after my kids, I will stalk them on Facebook like none other. Facebook is actually very hard to secure, and they change it every 6 months just to make it harder. Most people think you can secure your Facebook in about 4 or 8 clicks. It usually takes about 30 different clicks, 30 different places to do that, to secure it. Now, I can't put a step-by-step because they're always changing it. But if you go on Google, right, me and Google can build a house. If you go on Google, I guess me and YouTube can build a house. You go on Google and say, hey, how do I secure my Facebook? And you can secure it. And let's see if I have the other one. So on Facebook, all you should ever see on your Facebook and your kids' Facebook, unless you have a business, is a name and a picture. And even the picture, I would implore that you guys put an avatar there. That way when you go to Taco Bell and the guy takes your credit card and he wants to stalk you later, when he types in your name, because you guys live in the same town, it comes up with 20 of your name, and he can't see your picture. It's a red balloon or a palm tree or a Ferrari or something like that. That's all you should have on your Facebook. That's all your kids should have as well. Meet Me. Meet Me is not one of the big four, but it's one that's important because there's lots of applications like it. Meet Me is geo-based. And what I mean by geo-based is, let's say a 40-year-old sets up an account of a 15-year-old boy. He's going to see all the 16 and 17-year-old girls and how far they are from them, starting at 500 feet. So once he starts this, boom, 500 feet, there's this many girls. At half a mile, there's this many girls. At 2 miles, there's this many girls. So what the creepers do is they make a fake account of a 15-year-old boy. They go down to the mall, and they can see what girls are at the mall. Right? They can see what they look like. They can usually link to their Facebook page. They can see what school they go to, everything. Cray, cray. Lots of predators use Meet Me because parents don't know how to check it either. Lots of kids like Meet Me, right? Parents, they know how to check Twitter. Some parents do. Some parents know how to use Facebook. That's about ends the parental familiarity. Everything else you're going to have to work at. Now, your kids have taught me how to use all these things. And I just ask them. If you show some interest and ask them, maybe a little threat or two, they'll show you. Snapchat. This is one of the worst programs ever. Ever, ever, ever. Now, why do kids like Snapchat? Well, the filters are pretty cool, right? You can have bunny ears or deer ears. You can throw up rainbows. You can do all kinds of things. At Halloween, they have the coolest stuff, right? I even like to play with those things. That's what's cool. The other cool thing is it deletes stuff for you automatically, so you don't have to worry about going through and deleting all your stuff before mom checks it. So when you send a message, it automatically deletes it from your phone, and the person who gets it, they get a phone, they put their thumb on it, okay, they get 10 seconds to see the message, it's gone. Now, Snapchat now has a 24-hour timeline where you can put stuff on for 24 hours. Now, they recently, like 2 days ago, made another update, which I'm still getting used to. But the bottom line is that when boys are talking to girls on Snapchat, they always say, send me a nude picture. And the girl said, no, I don't want to send you one because you'll save it and show all your friends. Well, the boy said, well, send it to me on Snapchat. Because on Snapchat, if you save the picture, it lets the sender know that you saved the picture. Right? So the way boys get around this is they take a second phone. So when the picture comes in, they see the image and they take a picture of the first phone. That's the busted old way to do it. Nowadays, there's 100 applications that will save every Snapchat image. Nobody actually takes a picture of a picture because that's not as good. They save all the pictures. Now, the other thing that Snapchat does is it'll put your location, it'll put your temperature, it'll put your speed after you've taken your picture. The speed one's a little bad because now what I have is somebody leaving the school, they take a picture of themselves, they Snapchat their own picture while they're driving, and it'll say 52 miles an hour. Well, the next person got to beat that. So now I'm calling parents, hey, your kid's on the freeway doing 102 so they can Snapchat a picture of themselves. Cray, cray. All right, and it happens just like that. It baits them into doing bigger and worse things. Oh, I don't have it. Okay, so this right here, this is the new mapping. It's probably 6 months now. All these people are all the Snapchat friends you have. And you can track them live in real time. If they're moving, it actually shows them in a car. If they're sleeping, it shows them in a bed. I tell all the kids, Snapchat is my best tool for going to parties in the summer. Because I just look where all my kids are gathered, I'm going there. Right? You can actually set it to ghost mode, but a lot of kids want to know everybody to know where you've been. Right? They got to know if you're at Dutch Bros or where you're at. But in the summertime, I really can look and see where everybody's grouped. So can everybody else. Right? The predators can follow your kid right to their house. You can turn it off, just like with everything else. You can turn them all off. Instagram. Instagram is picture sharing. You take a picture, you hashtag it with something, and you put it out there. Now, if they have an unsecured account, what happens is other people can hashtag. So a girl will put a picture in her cheerleading outfit. Somebody she doesn't know will hashtag her, hey, Friday night babe, or cleavage, or booty pic, or whatever. Now the whole world, whoever types in that hashtag is going to find your kid. Anywhere in the world. Okay? Until recently, Instagram put your GPS coordinates within 6 feet of where you took the picture. Now they've changed that and made it much harder. The GPS coordinates are kind of still there, but you have to be a professional to get them, which I'm glad about that. What parents don't realize these days is that almost every kid has multiple Instagram accounts. Okay, they have their mom and dad and grandma and grandpa account. They have what we call the Finsta account, their friends only. That's so they can talk garbage about their other friends. They have their Sinsta account, which is so we can put our nude party pics on there with our alcohol and our drugs. And then they have a few more for good luck. I talked to a 11-year-old girl. She had 5 of these already. Most kids, I'd say 95% of them have more than one Instagram account. So if you're checking, check the second account and the third account and the fourth account. And usually you just click on this. It's either here or on the corner. You just click the down arrow and you'll see the rest of the accounts. It's pretty easy. Omegle. Omegle, a long time ago, was popular. Then it wasn't popular. And now it's popular again. So I saw this on a Chromebook. I had a dad who was super IT guy. He bought a Chromebook where you can't download applications, you can't save anything. It's pretty cool. But what Omegle does is it doesn't require you to have a user account. You just go to the webpage and it puts up a picture of somebody. In this case, it's a creepy somebody. But you get their picture, live video, you get sound, and you get typing. Now, if you don't like that person, you hit disconnect and it takes you to the next person. Okay, and there's lots of pornography going on here. This 11-year-old girl, actually the guy that she was talking to told her he was going to kill her if she didn't take off her shirt right then. So she did. And then she took off her pants, and this guy was recording the whole thing. There was no way for us to go back because she didn't log in, neither did that guy. It was untrackable. And I tried really hard. I wanted to get somebody like that, but Omegle, Chat Roulette is the exact same program. In fact, I would be surprised if they weren't the same company. But just know that these things are available. Kind of a story to tell you, to kind of show you all the applications, what the danger of them is, and why you should have them secured. So a 14-year-old girl and her mom go into Macy's. They're going to buy 2 swimsuits for the 14-year-old. They select 2 bikinis. Check out with the male cashier, who's about 35. Mom gives a credit card. He swipes the credit card, sends them out the door. This guy writes down mom's first and last name in his cell phone. Nothing else, just first and last name. A couple hours later, when he gets off shift, he types in mom's first and last name in a Facebook search. Because they live in the same city, bam, there's mom's Facebook account. He can see where she works, where she went to college, what concert she's going to, everything. But that's not what he really wants. He wants 14-year-old. So he goes into mom's friends list, which is open, types in mom's last name. That brings up everybody in her family, including 14-year-old girl. So he goes into 14-year-old girl account, same thing. You can see her school, her friends, her cell phone, her Twitter account, everything, and her Instagram. Well, girls, a lot of times when they get new swimsuits, they go on Instagram, they take a selfie of themselves in their bedroom, bathroom mirror. Hey, look, I'm going to Hawaii. How cool am I? A couple hours later, the neighbors of this girl call the police. Hey, there's a strange car parked in the neighborhood. The police knock on, sir, what are you doing in the neighborhood? We check cars all the time. Sometimes they're there for real reasons, sometimes not. What are you doing in this neighborhood? I'm buying a house. Which house? Well, I don't know. Well, how much it cost? I don't know. Well, what's the address? We'll help you get there. Well, I don't know. Sir, why do you have binoculars in your front seat? He was actually there looking right into this girl's bedroom because Instagram had put the coordinates up. This was a little bit before they took them off. Facebook does the same thing. It will put your coordinates when you're talking to somebody. How hard is it for people to do that? Not hard at all. I use it for finding bad guys when they have big warrants. I have a hottie girl 16-year-old account. When I got a guy, I just send him a hey message. They all say hey back eventually. And a lot of times they have their GPS on, so hey, I call patrol. This guy's talking to me. He's at this house, probably in this bedroom, within 6 feet. What if it's a female bank robber? She's 25. She's got $200,000 warrant. Nobody can find her. I use my same hottie girl account, and I send her a message. Hey, stop talking to my boyfriend. They all respond back. Okay? They all respond back sooner or later. I learned these tricks from the bad guys, but I use them to get the bad guys too. Now, secret applications. After one of these classes, I had a young lady come up. I think she was a 12, 13-year-old. Hey, Officer Gomez, after your class, I'm really afraid. I sent some nude pictures to a boy, a high school boy in another town. It was the Nampa boy that I was talking about earlier. So I went to his school. I interviewed him. You have any of these pictures on your phone? Nope. And he handed me his phone. No teen had ever handed me their phone. I looked through the phone. I don't find anything. I told him, look, I don't believe you. I believe my girl way more than I believe you. I'm going to take this and put it through my cool machine. If I find pictures on here, I'm going to go really hard on you. Versus, if you're honest, let's work things out. He goes, okay. And so he gave me his phone. He showed me, he had a tic-tac-toe application. You could play tic-tac-toe all day long. But if you put 3 X's and 3 O's, you get the secret gallery and the secret applications. Right? Parents aren't going to find that one. Since then, I've found a lot of secret applications. Anytime a kid hands me their phone, I know there's a secret application. All right, the latest and greatest application, which most kids have if they have a secret application, and most kids have it, is a calculator application that you see here. So it's a calculator. It works as a calculator. It's got a secret code. So kids in class can be chatting or whatever, one button, and they're back to the calculator. All right, and that hides all the normal places that parents would look. And I'll teach you how to find that in here in a little bit. Usually about now, parents are like, can I take a break? Honey, put all the phones in the microwave, shut the power off to the house. I know, I do this a lot. So parents, you have to be careful what information you give out, right? Because you guys go to Hawaii, that innocent picture of you and your kids on the beach, To you and to your neighbors that you know may be one thing, but to a predator, it's a whole other thing, right? They will Photoshop you out of there and have your kid on child pornography trading groups right away. You don't need to send your picture to strangers. And some people that you even know and think you know are creepers. So you have to be careful with those things. Location. All right? If you go to Hawaii and put, hey, look, we're in Hawaii and we're at this for the next 3 hours, guess what? Your house is getting ransacked. Same thing with weddings and funerals. That's the big thing lately. When you put, hey, I'm at this beautiful wedding, somebody's going to your house. Not only are they going to the house, they know the names of your dogs. They've seen your house because you put it all over the place. They know your kids. So when the neighbors do confront them, hey, yeah, I'm Joe's stepbrother. You didn't tell you about me? We worked together forever. Right now they have a story to go with why they're at the house. All your stuff is gone. Third-party apps. So now that I've scared you, let's talk about some of your options. Third-party applications are probably the best. Basically some safety applications that you can install over the phone. And so some examples, RPact, Mama Bear, Life 360, Circles. There's a bunch of them. And I actually have a special topic on my Facebook page, which I'll give you here in a little bit. And I asked all the parents to give me all the pros and cons of what information, what monitoring programs they use. But basically, the monitoring programs, you can turn on and off your kid's GPS. You can download filter, meaning you can put certain words that your kids can't download. You can also turn off all their downloading of applications. So when your kid wants to download an application, it sends you a little ping, hey, your kid's trying to download this. Is it okay for them to download it? You have a friends filter. You get to pick which friends your kid gets to contact. Usage filter. At 10 o'clock at night, you turn that phone into a brick. During school, you should turn it into a brick, but very few parents do. I do talk parents into turning it into a brick half hour before school, half hour after school, and during lunch. So that's when the kids are driving, and they're most likely to use their phones. Right? That's a good one to use. Some of them now have driving filters. As soon as that phone is going over a speed limit, it shuts it down, so you can't get text messages or anything like that. Now, there's other cool things that you can do with third-party apps, like you can send a reply-only text message. So when you send your kid a text message that they have to reply, after 15 minutes, if they don't reply, it shuts their phone down for everything else until they reply to you. Right? You can say, how do you like me now? Right? Because I'm a parent, so I know the struggle is real. The third-party apps, kids always find a way around them if they really want to. But as a parent, if you're showing your kids that you care and you're doing your due diligence and looking, your kids are going to know these things, and they're going to be more apt to make the right choices, not only on cell phones, but with drinking, with drugs, with all these things. Hey, my parents do care, right? Because a lot of the kids that do get into drugs is because their parents don't care. Show your kids you care. Have these conversations with them. Are they going to outsmart you sometimes? Yeah, but that's okay. Do your best. That's all you can ever do. Right on the GPS part, we had a parent call us, hey, we had an emergency in the family. We're trying to get a hold of my daughter. She's supposed to be at this address. Can you send somebody? We really need her. We go and there's like 4 cell phones in the mailbox. So they'd gone there, put all the phones in the mailbox so the GPS would ping there, and then they went off to a party. Pretty awesome, huh? Okay, here's another super important thing you can do that's awesome. Number 1, wait till 13 on smartphones. Please, please, please wait till 13. I'm starting to see more and more middle school kids who aren't old enough to use applications that change their lives. Right? I had a 6th grade girl who sent a threat to the school. She put guns and she put a picture of the school. We didn't know it was a 6th grade girl, so they called me in at night. I hunted her down with, Instagram sent me all the coordinates. We went in 6 officers after a 6th grade girl. We don't know. Right? She gets kicked out of school for the next year. She can't go to any school. That's a life changer. Right? And the internet baits your kids into doing bigger and bigger and bigger stuff. Shoot, it baits adults into doing bigger and bigger things. They say all kinds of stupid stuff. Please, wait till they're 13, right? You can get them the jitterbug and all the non-smartphones, but wait till they're 13 to have their own smartphone. A 200 friend limit. When they do have their smartphone, this 200 friend limit is awesome. As I was getting bullying reports, I was like, how can I fix this? And what I do is I start talking to kids. Hey, how many friends do you have? How often do you get bullied? How often do you get asked for naked pictures? What I found is once you reach the 300 people on your social media, people become anonymous and they'll say things they wouldn't say to somebody in person. Right? And once they get anonymous, now they start asking kids for nude photos. That doesn't mean the kids send them, but the more a kid gets asked for nude photos, the more they get desensitized. And so then I was seeing on social media, middle school girls, oh, how rude. This person's only known me for 5 minutes and he's already asking for nudes. And they think the 5-minute part is the problem. No, right? No. It starts desensitizing them. Huge. 200 friend limit and make sure they're secured. Some of my police buddies, hey, also my daughter wanted to have 202 friends. I told her, pick 2 friends you're going to get off of there. You got 2 new ones, right? It's a rotating. You pick your best 200. Another thing parents can do, which is super smart, have a central charging location in the house. Because when you ask your kids to check their phone, you're going to have the same problem the teachers do. You're going to say, hey, I want to check your phone. They're going to say, oh, I'm downloading this math test. If you interrupt it, I'm going to fail, and I'm going to live with you till I'm 35. They're going to go in their bedroom, they're going to delete everything, and then they're going to hand you their phone. And it's going to become a battle. Mom, Dad, you don't trust me? It's not my job to trust you. It's my job to check your phone. All right? So if you have a central charging location, you can check it whenever you want, and they don't know. All right, now I get parents that call me, Officer Gomez, I don't have the password to my kid's phone, and they won't give it to me. What? That's your phone. Right, so I said, look, okay, emergency situations only. The manufacturer of cell phones puts a little piece of paper in the middle of the phone that prints out the number. You get to it with a hammer in the garage. If you cannot get the password, you have to have the password to your kid's phone, and you have to check it, right? That's part of being a parent. Same thing as doing seatbelt checks. All these things are part of being a parent, and you have to do it. And we're kind of getting away from that because I don't know if we think the internet is raising our kids. It's not Officer Gomez. It's not the teachers. It's got to be parents. Install third-party software. Now, you can actually go to Verizon and say, hey, the $5 a month program that you add on, you don't even have to go to Verizon. You can do it on the computer. Log in your Verizon account, say you want the family plan, and you can start doing some of these things. Sprint, T-Mobile, all of them offer a similar thing for $5 or $6 a month. Some of them are $14 a month. Some of them are $30 a month, right? So you get to pick what you want and how much control you want to have. Just put something into showing your kids that you care about them. Now, there's a lot of information here. So I give everybody, and I implore you to add me as a friend on Facebook or follow me. Now, what's the difference between friending somebody and following somebody on Facebook? Well, if you follow me, I can't see any of your information. If you friend me, I can see all your information. Now I have like 5,000 people, so I don't spend all my days. I got a dirt bike. I'm going dirt biking. I'm not going to spend time looking. But I put all the latest and greatest things, what's a problem and what isn't. Such as last year, November, we had the clown scare everywhere. I got all kinds of, Officer Gomez, what about the clowns? I said, yeah, they've been calling me all morning. Okay, I'll put things on there, what you need to worry about, what you don't need to worry about, what the latest and greatest things are. There were no clowns, right? But the parents thought it was real. And I would tell them, it's not real. I'm a police officer. I would know this. Well, my daughter thinks it's real. No, you and your daughter shouldn't have phones then. Okay? What's on the internet is not real. If you friend me, follow me, you will get all my information. There's an older video of this on there, and I may have this one on there at some point, but I'm now starting to put little 3-minute videos about Snapchat, about Instagram, about Twitter, about when you should have phones, about all the latest and greatest things, so that I can keep parents updated on what's happening. And I put seatbelt tips, things you can do to check up on your kids and help out. You can also contact me if you have questions. I have many parents come bring kids into my office with their phones, or just use me to scare your kids. I know Officer Gomez, right? I will take you down to Meridian right now, right? Use me if you need. And I think we've talked about doing this class again in a year or two, just to kind of refresh everything. But my social media page does keep everybody updated because there's no way that you're going to keep up. I have 2,300 kids, and some of them pride themselves on seeing if they know something I don't know. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. But we'll share all that information with you every chance I get. And my Facebook page looks just like this. If you type in David Gomez, Meridian, or Officer Gomez, you will see it. And I'll accept everybody. Even though I tell you not to, I'm going to, right? Again, I have a taser. All right, so we are going to open it up if anybody has some crazy questions. There we have one back there in the middle. We got a mic coming to you. This is being simulcast in 17 languages, so you need a mic.
Oh, thank you. I've heard Facebook is better, Instagram is worse. Is there a comparison? Are they both absolutely equal? Does it depend on the day?
Parents are better and Snapchat is worse. Okay? Snapchat, I would recommend 15 years of age for Snapchat, but Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all those things are pretty much the same. You can get in trouble in all of them. So parental guidance, parental talks, and just talking with your kids and then just checking. So none of them are worse. You can do basically the same thing on all of them. Which is send messages, talk to people you shouldn't be talking about. So that's where a parent comes in. And I mean, at our house, we have what's called tribal council. Friday night, tribal council, we're going to sit down and talk about all the important things in our lives that you need to know. Right? And I implore that you guys have something similar. You can talk about the sex talks you need to talk about. You can say, hey, Officer Gomez said that 70% of kids are sending out naked pictures. What do you think? Right? And you'll see quickly that they know what I'm talking about. Does that answer your question? They're the same except for Snapchat. That's worse because it's just meant to hide stuff from parents. 15, right? Kids, you can thank me later. All right. Question over here.
Yeah, do you have any resources for like the Xbox One and all the apps, and you can go how to maybe protect them a little better? Because there's a lot of Roblox and all that
I
stuff.
did just put some stuff on PlayStation 4 on. I know I have some older stuff on Xbox, how to put parent filters on those. Roblox, I have my grandkids can only play Roblox. They're 8, 7, and 8. They can only play Roblox with me in the room because they get contacted by so many people that we don't know. That's just a crazy thing. But I do put that kind of stuff on my Facebook, how to set the parent, because Xbox, Wii's, all those things can get online. And Roblox and Minecraft are ones that the predators are using heavily to contact kids.
So years ago, media companies have sort of established this understanding that they provide a mechanism for users to be able to use their systems and to contribute content, et cetera. They claim not to be responsible specifically for the content on it. These companies seem to be targeting children specifically. Is there anything being done to try to go after them as far as liability goes? It seems like they're contributing to the problem.
There's nothing I've done to go after them. I barely have enough time to get my own stuff taken care of. Somebody should go after them because they do make some things that are hard to work with. My Facebook account, actually every time I get a predator and I have to get a search warrant, Facebook deletes my Facebook account. They won't let law enforcement have fake accounts. So I have to make a new account every time, which isn't very hard, but it's rude. Snapchat actually is being sued by multiple people for deaths of people when they were Snapchatting themselves going 112, 113. If you look that up, you'll see they do have some lawsuits against them. But they're such a big company with so much money that it's hard for people to sue them. I wish we could, because there's some things they could do to help out. Now, they're coming out with a Facebook for like 6-year-olds here soon. Right? It's targeting like 6 to 11-year-olds specifically, and it's got some parent authentication. It's no good. I don't like it at all because, parents are going to start and it's going to become too big a pain, so then they're going to let kids just do it on their own. I don't like it at all. And you'll see that here soon, messaging for really young kids.
So my kids are too young to have any social media accounts, and after this, they probably never will. But I was just wondering, as a parent, how I'm wondering if I need to just delete anything I have at this point. Like, I'm kind of nervous as to how. I don't know. Do I need to make sure I only have 200 friends now?
So, unless you're a business, there's no reason to have more than 200 friends. It gets you in a lot of drama that we don't need. Usually once something's out there, it's out there, right? You can delete it, but it's the same as the naked pictures. It's going to be out there forever. So you want to be careful about what you put out there. If you lock it down pretty well and you're not putting out anything, don't put your bank account numbers out there, you're going to be okay. But everybody's hackable, right? They can hack the banks. They can hack your information everywhere, right? My wife and I think we're going to go to a couch cushion money system so that nobody can steal my money. But that's if somebody told me, in fact, I do have some parents at the school who say, hey, look, we've chosen to not go with smartphones. We have one flip phone for the whole family. Whoever's going out of town gets the flip phone, they take it and they come back. Now, those kids wish they had the smartphones, but they also see how much drama it causes. And so, deep down, they know their parents are caring about them because they don't have phones. So it's kind of I wouldn't blame you if you deleted everything. And I know some people do delete it after this class because the kids come in and go, Officer Gomez, you got me deleted.
Hi, yeah. If you don't have a Facebook account, is there anywhere else to get this information from you, like for third-party apps and things like that?
Google, you can get some of it. It's just not in a real-world example kind of thing, right? I see it every day as real-world examples. Now, you guys do have some local SROs, and we're going to introduce you to them. If you talk to them, hopefully they have one that's pretty social media savvy or a teacher that's social media savvy. Sometimes you can talk to them. You might have a local resource, hopefully. I'm trying to train up some high schoolers, college kids to kind of duplicate this class because they do know what I'm talking about. But it's a tough subject.
But your information, is that only available via Facebook?
It's also available on YouTube. You can Google me on YouTube and watch YouTube videos of it. Right? So any smart TV, you can go on YouTube and watch the videos.
We had heard a statistic that Idaho was #1 in the nation for cyberbullying. So one, have you heard that? Is that true? And two, where do they get those statistics from?
Okay, I did hear that, and that's completely garbage. They took 1,300 people nationwide, and that's how they came up with their number, right? There was probably only one person from Idaho, so we got 100%. Right? Bullying is really not that big a problem, even though it's a big thing, and parents will say this, that, and the other, and people are killing themselves from. That's not happening. I track everybody who commits suicide. Not any of them are doing it from bullying. It's a lot of parental issues we have going on, and a lot of misinformation about what bullying is. It's an easy thing to say, but it's not reality. And we are not #1.
You had mentioned something about luring girls or boys into sex trafficking. Can you tell us how that works?
Okay, so here's how kids get lured into sex trafficking. Back in the old days before cell phones, if your kid said they were running away, you'd pack them a lunch and I'll bet you'll be back by dinner. Okay, nowadays when a kid runs away, as soon as they leave the house, they put it on Instagram, they put it on Twitter. Hey, I'm homeless for the night. Whose couch can I crash on? Especially if it's a young girl, she's going to have 100 offers. Right? And then after she goes through her friends, 2 or 3 days at each friend couch surfing, pretty soon it's going to be a 24-year-old drug dealer. And then as they get hooked more and more on drugs, pretty soon he starts trading her around to other people, and then she's just going to end up wherever she ends up. And once she does so many drugs and gets so many criminal charges, a lot of times she doesn't think parents are going to want her back, so they end up in bad places. The other thing that gets them into sex trafficking is through social media, they get lured into the pornography business in California or Florida. They say, hey, you can make $10,000 in 4 hours. Come here, we'll pay for your flight, your hotel, everything. And once they get there, they're stuck. They don't know anybody. And then they start getting hooked on drugs and they get put into the sex trade business. Right? Those are the two I've seen actually kids get into there because of that. Got one up here.
So when I was 9, I got Musical.ly, and then my mom took it away because she thought it was dangerous because she saw it on a website. And I actually just want to know if Musical.ly is actually dangerous, because I heard that once you make a video, it stays on the internet like forever, and there's no way to get it off, and it's dangerous because people can see them, and then can figure out your address really easily. There's personal text messages.
And then it's all cray-cray. First of all, high five to mom, because that's awesome job. Okay? Now, Musical.ly. When you install Musical.ly, is similar to YouTube, but you can have funny voices and music, and it's aimed at kids. The first thing it asks you when you install it is, hey, do you want your friends close by to see what you've made? Well, of course we do. It's their friends. No, they just put your GPS coordinates for the whole world to see. That's what that question means. Do you want your friends nearby you to see you? We want to turn on your GPS. We're asking it in a funny way. Musically, we have a lot of people who are predators who will like your kid's video. Hey, I like your video. Look, I'm making one similar. They start a conversation, they start a relationship, and then pretty soon somebody's coming to pick them up and take them to Las Vegas for 2 weeks. I say that because we actually had that happen in Boise at one point. It is same as everything else online. If you have open to people, you don't know what people are liking you or friending you.
So I do play Roblox and stuff, and there are a lot of people on Roblox, but I don't know if they're spam or hackers, and I really wish they would go away. Do you have any advice for that?
Okay, so this young lady says she plays Roblox, and she does encounter a lot of people, and she doesn't know who they are. Same as my grandkids do. Now with Roblox, there's not a real good way to filter everybody out. It's hard to have a local mode. With Minecraft, you can have a local mode where you're only playing with yourself. You can have a mode where you're just playing with the person across the street that you know, and you know their address and everything. With Roblox, there's no way to filter out everybody, and I know my grandkids who are the same age have that problem, and there's no good way other than parents watching and you watching and saying, hey, I don't know you, I'm not talking to you. Stranger danger. We're just not talking to people. Some parents think it's just magical. The TV's just talking to my kid. No magic about it. But yes, please don't talk to those people, and if you're on social media, that's going to happen. Right? I get parents who come in, my kid's getting bullied on the internet. Really? Did you think that you were going to log on to some special internet where everybody was kind and socially awesome? No. You make a choice to get online. There's no special world for you or your kid, right? If you get on, I promise you there's going to be mean, nasty, rude people. That's part of the internet. I think it's an acronym in there somehow, right? But understand what you're getting into before you get into it, that is going to happen. I told you so. We got one here in the middle.
So just a question about YouTube. Is there a way to control what they see on it, or is it best to just avoid it altogether? Because I control the apps, but that's online. So how do we handle YouTube?
Okay, so with YouTube, you can put some parental controls. You can also do YouTube Kids, which puts further parental controls. But even YouTube Kids, some of the ads that come up are very, scantily dressed people on their ads. They have some people that can get around the filters on there. Now, I don't say don't to YouTube, but have it monitored, right? Some people will have a central computer or have it on their main TV where parents can watch at the same time as the kids, right? Or you can say, hey, look, Thursday nights, if everybody has their homework done, we'll have 2 hours of family YouTube, right? Where we can all do this together. As churches, as groups, now we're having, hey, come show your YouTube video night, right? At least it's with adults and it's supervised, right? So I wouldn't say don't to YouTube, because there's a lot of cool things to learn with YouTube for kids and for adults. But with everything, as a parent, you should supervise until they get to some certain age where, hey, we're going to supervise you less and less, because by the time they're 17, you've taught them what you're going to teach them, right? When I get parents that tell me, hey, my 17-year-old just ran away, what should I do? Change the locks. Right? You have to let your kids fly on their own at some point. But don't do it too early. And even if they're flying at some point, you should be around the corner, eyeing them and making sure they're doing the right thing in case you got to do, some adjustments. So yes, YouTube, but supervised. We're going to take like 1 or 2 more questions, and then you guys can come up and talk to me or send me messages, because I know there's a few other things we want to talk about here.
Okay, is Craigslist anymore a problem? It should be if you got creepers pretending in picture to be somebody else. And another thing, I live on top of 2 truck stops, and it would be so easy to lure, my daughter away. I mean, if she was to get, the stuff that you're talking about tonight, these people pretending to be somebody else and luring them to a place to where they can be grabbed and taken away.
Absolutely. Craigslist, well, so the first question is Craigslist. Craigslist is awesome. I can sell all kinds of stuff. I can buy all kinds of stuff. But I already know when I put something on Craigslist, like 80% of the people contact me are going to be scammers. They want to pay me more than what it's worth, right? Or they want me to go on a special site and fill out a survey, and then they're going to buy everything I have, which basically they want my username and password. So Craigslist does have its uses. Just be careful. Don't get scammed. If somebody offers you more than what you, to say no. If somebody offers you PayPal, say no. Can your daughter get lured to the truck stops? Absolutely, right? Absolutely. Understand that even if you don't give your kids a smartphone, their friends are going to have smartphones. The neighbors are going to have smartphones. They're going to sneak smartphones. So be ever vigilant. You know, I used to tell people do a drug check, you know, once or twice a year. Now we're checking for drugs and secondary devices, which could be cell phones, iPads, Xboxes, anything like that. But yes, we can be lured. That's why we have to be vigilant, and we have to be educating our kids all the time on the dangers and talk real with them. Hey, look, this is why I care about you. This is what I'm worried about.
I have a question about the Vault apps. Is there any way of permitting those from getting on our kids' phones, and how many different types of Vault apps are there?
Okay, there's thousands of Vault apps. And yes, there is a way of not permitting them. A lot of the third-party software that you put on will not let them download anything without your permission. Now, when you get that, some of the companies actually tell you what they think the application is. Hey, they want to download this calculator app. We think it's a Vault app, right? Those Vault apps were actually made for cheating husbands and wives. Kids just took them over because they're awesome for that. But there's hundreds and hundreds of them, right? They call them black book apps. They call them Vault apps. The best way to do it is third-party software. Even the Verizon software, when you say, you can see what kind of stuff they're downloading, what they're using it for, and you can do some simple math. Hey, my report at the end of the month from the phone company says my kid took 100 pictures. They deleted 52 of them. I only see 10. We got a math problem, right? And lots of kids have that calculator application. Up till recently, you could find out if the calculator application was fake or not by deleting it, because the resident calculator could not be deleted. So if you tried to delete it, it wouldn't let you. It's a real app. If you could delete it and it's gone, oh, your kid had a fake app. Apple just put out a new update where now you can delete the applicator. It's like they have me bugged or something. They're trying to get around me as fast as I'm trying to get to parents. So you can no longer do that. Some of the third-party apps will keep your kids from downloading those. All right, last question. Up in the back.
What would you recommend to monitor the home computer?
Okay, so some of the third-party apps will monitor everything you have, including the home computer, because they're the same thing. And you know, RPAC, Mama Bear, all those things will do your home computer as well. I think for the price, you get like 5 devices, which includes iPads, phones, computers, possibly your Xbox as well. You have one more? We're good. We got one more. Okay, we're going to do one more question here.
So on the topic of third-party apps, my understanding is that they don't work in like Instagram. Like, there's no way to filter that.
Okay, so some of the applications will block Instagram altogether. So they can't even open Instagram. If you open it, there's no way to filter the stuff that gets in there, right? They can get in there. Kids are pretty smart. They can get around some of them. Some of the applications are better than others. I don't have any more teenagers, so I'm not going to pay to test these out. But I asked some of the kids and some of the parents to let me know. And I know some of them are pretty good. Snapchat, I think, is the only one that you can't see what's happening. Whereas Instagram, I think some of them now can see the Instagram until they change it, right? Once they give you an update, now the software company has to rewrite all their code so that they can sneak on to Instagram. It's like unfiltered internet. And the kids will do VPNs. They'll do all. They won't do their homework, but they'll program, through 16 servers to get to the internet at school. Some of them do. Some of them do. Now, also, when you do a cell phone check, here's even a better trick for cell phone check. You take the cell phone, hold it for 2 hours. You're going to get a whole bunch of incoming notifications. Check all the incoming notifications. That's when you're going to get the good stuff, right? Because your kids have most likely deleted all the fun stuff. But if you hold it for 2 hours, don't let them go in their room to their second device to tell other friends, hey, don't message me, parents have phone. That's the message I see like daily. Don't message me, parents have phone. Keep them in sight, keep the phone for 2 hours, and just check all the, hey, bing, bing, oh, look, we got drama 24/7 coming through. Okay, now somebody's gonna come on up here and
let's go ahead and give Officer Gomez a hand here. Thank you. Nice work. Yeah, I don't know about you. I'm a little horrified, a little terrified, but just super helpful. So thank you. We do have a couple law enforcement locally that are here. If you guys could come on up at this time, that'd be great. I'd just love to introduce them. And while they're coming, looks like it's Rick. I just want to say too, students, if things that were said tonight and you're thinking, hey, wow, what about me? And that picture I sent, what do I do? Really want to encourage you to connect with your SRO officer tomorrow at school. Talk to your parents tonight, obviously, but get on that. And so we just love for you to take that step. Again, Gomez will be here at the end, but I just want to introduce Rick, or have Rick introduce himself and what you do.
Good evening. My name is Rick Colodi. I'm actually the supervisor for the FBI here in Coeur d'Alene. So we have a group of agents and local officers who do just what Officer Gomez does locally. So if you have an issue, a question, please contact any of your local SROs, any of your local police or sheriff's department, or if you're not sure, you can call the FBI office. We're in the phone book. Reach out to us and we can either answer your question, help you deal with your issue, or direct you who can best help you.
All right, man. Super helpful. Thank you. We do have a few resources on a table out there. There's some sheets that are handouts that have photos of books that talk a lot about how, as a family, what are some principles of how we make decisions on social media. And so there's those papers out there, and on the back of those papers is all of Officer Gomez's contact info. And so if you didn't already start following him yet on Facebook, or get his number, we have it available in the lobby. I just want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I encourage you to grab that or talk with Gomez. And then also, if you would love, we would love for you to help us stack chairs. So again, thanks for being here tonight.
In my wrestling and in my doubts, in my failures, you won't walk out. Your great love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Whoa, you are the peace in my troubled sea. In the silence, you won't let go. In the questions, your truth will hold. Your great love will lead me through. You are the peace in my trouble.